Isn't it plain the sheets of moss, except that they have no tongues, could lecture all day if they wanted about spiritual patience? Isn't it clear that the black oaks along the path are standing as though they were the most fragile of flowers? Every morning I walk around this pond thinking, if the doors of my heart ever close, I am as good as dead. Every morning so far I'm alive. And now the crow breaks off from the rest of darkness and bursts up into the sky, as though all the night they had thought of what they would like their lives to be and imagined their strong, thick wings. You probably guessed that was Mary Oliver. Good morning, my name is Pam Romancic. I'm a queer, white, cisgendered woman whose pronouns are she and hers. I am blessed to serve this vibrant church. I'm also someone who enjoyed a great time at the Beltane Festival last Friday outside by the fire. It was really wonderful. Whoever you are, whatever brings you joy, whoever you love, whatever identities you carry through the world, you are welcome here this morning.
For our chalice lighting, the words come from Liesl Mueller, When I Am Asked. When I am asked how I begin writing poems, I talk about the indifference of nature. It was soon after my mother died, a brilliant June day, everything blooming. I sat on a gray stone bench in a lovely planted garden, but the daylilies were as deaf as the ears of drunken sleepers, and the roses curved inward. Nothing was black or broken, and not a leaf fell, and the sun blared endless commercials for summer holidays. I sat on a gray stone bench, ringed with the ingenue faces of pink and white impatience, and placed my grief in the mouth of language, the only thing that would grieve with me. As we light our chalice this morning for the deep which lies beneath the deep, for the sadness below the sadness, and for the joy beneath the joy, we light our chalice to welcome the fullness of life on this Sunday morning. Hello, my name is Lois Phillips, and my pronouns are she and hers, and our church shares a covenant that we make with one another, a promise that helps to remind us of why we gather and how we want to be with one another. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in saying our covenant together and remain standing for our opening hymn. We unite to strengthen the bonds of kinship among all persons, to promote human dignity, and to increase reverence for life's creating, sustaining, and transforming power through worship, study, and service.
invited to be seated. We're going to invite all the young and young at heart up to the front for our story for all ages. It's an interesting Sunday today for our Wonder Box. Hi, come on up, Scott. Yay. Come on up and sit down right here. It's good. Yep. Have a seat. Hello. Welcome. Hi, guys. Hi, Xander. So today the service is about poetry. Do you guys know what poetry is? What do you think, Xander? It's something you write about. Yeah. It's sometimes it rhymes. Sometimes when you're saying poems, they rhyme when you say them. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. That's a little tiny poem, right? So if you think about, it's a day when we're saying poetry is my religion. What might be in the box today? Any ideas? Yes. A poem. That's a great guess. A piece of paper. That's another great guess. Yes. A poem. Very good. Oh, a question. Yes.
A squirrel dresses a Jedi holding a lightsaber.
Oh, gosh. You be careful. You're going to be filling up the boxes from now on. That was a great guess. Okay. So we have somebody that hasn't opened the box before. You guys have. I don't think that. Have you opened it? Come on. Let's see who was right. You guys, yes. I think it might be scroll with what that could be used as a lightsaber. Okay, pass it off to Karen. It was a very good lightsaber.
What is that? It's a poem! You are all right! It was a lightsaber and a poem! We love it when things turn into other things, right? It was a lightsaber and a poem. May the fourth be with you. We lift up our swords. Come on. Okay, there we go. That's enough. Okay. And we become animals for one another in our families. It's lovely. So this is the poem today, and it's written by a guy named Shel Silverstein, and it's written for you all. This is called The Poetry, or The Poetry. Underneath the poetry, come and rest a while with me and watch the way the word web weaves between shady story leaves. Have you ever watched a spider make a web? Yeah. Have you ever found a web? Yeah. What do they look like? Yeah. They look like webs. Webs look like webs, just in case you wanted to know. Yeah. So underneath the poetry, we watch the way the words webs and weaves. The branches of the poetry reaches from the mountains way over here to the sea. Oh. So come and sit and dream and climb. Just don't hit by falling rhymes. Okay. We have one more poem. Okay, this is called The Voice. There is a voice inside of you. Do you ever listen to a voice? You know a voice inside of you? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's that thing that says, oh, Mom said I shouldn't do this. And hopefully you don't do it then. Sometimes we do, but then we learn why Mom might have said not to do it. That whispers all day long. I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise men, much like Obi-Wan Kenobi, can decide what's right for you. Just listen to that voice that speaks inside. So today, Reverend Pam is talking about her poetry. And do you know what? There's this thing. All of us can write poems. So I'm going to give you this little piece of paper, and you don't have to take it. You can take it right now, but you don't have to do anything with it right now. What these are, and if you can't read, you're going to ask an adult to help you with these. But what these are prompts for you to write your own poems, right? Because sometimes adults write poems, and that's totally fine, but sometimes you all write poems too. Here you go, Reese. Okay, and with that, we're going to sing the children's class.
Giving is the anchor that holds you through a stormy night. It reminds you of who you are at your best self. With your gift, Countryside Church can be at its best. Your gift helps us fulfill our mission to create belonging, inspire curiosity, and heal our world. Your gift will be gratefully received.
I invite you to put your feet on the floor, take a deep breath in, and then relaxing breath. Let every bit of tension that might be left in your body drain down your back, hips, through your legs, out your feet, to the rich, dark earth below us. This morning our words are from Susan Manker Seal. We speak to the God, the goddess, the spirit of life, the eternal. We speak to the mysterious thread that connects us one to the other and to the wider universe. We speak to the deep wisdom at the center of our beings. We embody the yearning of all people to touch each other more deeply, to hear each other more keenly, to see each other's joys and sorrows as our own, and know that we are not alone. Unless we create solitude for ourselves, and even then, community awaits us. Out of our yearning, we have come to this religious community. May we help each other reclaim the possibilities we see to create the community we desire, to worship what is worthy in our lives, to teach the truth as we know it, and to serve the justice in all the ways that we can, to the end that our yearning is assuaged and our lives fulfilled in one another. Let us be silent together for a moment. May peace be yours. Out of this silence, we recognize the joys and the concerns that rest within our community. Whatever is happening in your life, remember to reach out and let us know so that we can walk with you, support you, and remind you of how loved you are. I got a new note this morning that Carl let us know that Jeannie Michalek is having surgery on May 15th to remove a benign growth that's in her, not quite inside her brain, but right on the edge. He said it's supposed to be very good prognosis, and still they're a little freaked out, as I imagine anybody would be. We send lots of good love and care. We also send love and care to Marjorie Leone, who finally made it home from the hospital where she was for almost a month. We wish her very quick healing. She'll be back on her feet and with us soon. We're also sending love, lots of people in the hospital, to Matt Myron, who had surgery on his leg this week. He will be healing for a bit, but is expected to make a full recovery. Blessings, Matt. We wish you well. Health and happiness. And finally, we celebrate with Andrew and Renee Cranberg, who became grandparents for the first time on Tuesday when their son Carter and his wife Katie had a baby boy named Cass Cranberg. Welcome, Cass. May you be blessed with a long, happy, and healthy life. For all those other intentions which rest in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, know that you are held and you are loved. Please join me in singing Spirit of Life.
Our first reading is by Parker Palmer, Poetry as Sacrament, Disentangling from the Darkness. Years ago, a teacher told me, "Poetry is my religion." I didn't understand what she meant until I began reading Mary Oliver, whose poems often strike me as sacraments, outward and visible symbols of an inward and invisible grace. Some mornings when I wake up, this morning was one of them, I find it hard to disentangle myself from the darkness. My analytic mind can usually tell me why. Today it was a lingering illness, a vexing email I got last night, and events that weigh me down. Understanding the why helps me gain perspective, but that kind of knowledge does not free me from the night, free me to move into the day, to engage with the world with trust and hope. So, this morning, as I always do, I turned to poetry, another kind of knowing, in search of grace, and I found a dimly remembered Mary Oliver poem called Landscape. Taking in those images readied me for this truth. If the doors of my heart ever close, I am as good as dead. As long as I can feel the darkness as well as the light, those doors remain open. And with the poet, I can say, every morning, so far, I'm alive. I chalk that blessed fact up to a combination of dumb luck, the love of friends, the kindness of strangers, and the grace mediated by life's many sacraments, including poetry and the natural world. For this, I can only say, thank you. Thus ends the reading.
How to be alone. It all begins with knowing nothing lasts forever, so you might as well start packing now. In the meantime, practice being alive. There will be a party where you'll feel like nobody's paying you attention, and there will be a party where attention's all you'll get. What you need to do is to remember to talk to yourself between these parties. And again, there will be a day, a decade, where you won't fit in with your body, even though you're in the only body you're in. You need to control your habit of forgetting to breathe. Remember when you were younger and you practiced kissing on your arm? You were onto something then. Sometimes harm knows its own healing. Comfort knows its own intelligence. Kindness too, it needs no reason. There is a you telling you another story of you. Listen to her. Where do you feel anxiety in your body? The chest? The fist? The dream before waking? The head that feels like it's at the top of the swing, or the clutch of gut like falling and falling and falling and falling? It knows something. You're dying. Try to stay alive. For now, touch yourself. I'm serious. Touch yourself. Take your hand and place your hand someplace upon your body and listen to the community of madness that you are. You are such an interesting conversation. You belong here.
Our second reading by Reverend Bob Janice Dillon is called Let the Artists Win. I vote we let the artists win, the ones covered in paint from their last attempt to smuggle across the beauty of a bowl of fruit. The 14-year-old rapper learning to spit, throwing life's chaos on the rhythm wheel, uncovering the shapes that live on after the next break. I say we let the food bank volunteers win, the ones always carrying around their agenda for the meeting, waging campaigns to stock shelves with bread. I would like to see the nurses extend their string of victories from the hospital bed to the nation's boardrooms until we care for each other as if death were inevitable and mercy was the only thing that made the rounds bearable. I say we let the kindergarten teachers win as they raise up small edifices for the beauty words that never capture or reveal. Maybe even let the helpless drunkard win sometimes when she cries into her beer and declares that it's all too much. I will let the grandmothers win when they tell the old stories that hold me in their keeping, and the children yelling, "Play, play!" The ones who have already cost us so much of our final productivity, the only tyrants who can command the true attention of the wise. I want them to win too, again and again, without pity. And then when the men with the guns come, we can say, "I'm sorry, but whether you win or lose, it's really never been my game, sir. I have lost and lost again 1,000 wars of the heart. And to those to whom I have waved the white flag, those to whom I have surrendered the whole and holy of my life, will never, never let me go." Thus ends the reading.
Those to whom I have surrendered the whole and holy of my life will never, never let me go. Such a beautiful statement of trust and those connections which shore up our lives, through which our deepest sense of purpose and self can flow. I'm solid, I'm most grounded when I remember my own connections to this present world in which I live and breathe. But first I have to remember who I am, what I have to offer, and how I am connected. As you heard, it's May 4th, and for all Star Wars fans, it's a day to offer one another the wish of the power of life. May the Force be with you. May you remember that deep connection of power that's holding each one of us, that ongoing flow of life in which we live and breathe, the power that we draw into our bodies, that while we exist on this plane. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but I'm bringing in a discussion of poetry because it can be described as a style of communicating which rests just outside of everyday speech. Philosopher and poet David White says that poetry is the language against which we have no defenses. Language against which we have no defense. Poetry is a unique combination of words which break into our mind and pour straight either into or out of our hearts. Are you a poet? Are there poets here? I know there are. But you'd be surprised at how many ordinary people covertly write poetry, and we would never know it. I know we have amazing poets right here because they regularly create the haikus that go all around the building. And if any of you walked around the building to look at the flowers, I hope you also read all of the beautiful haikus last weekend. And if you didn't, go out and read them this weekend. I've been writing poets surreptitiously for a very long time. And it was something that I couldn't claim for a long time. This was way back, because I was just a normal person. Poets were fancy people with important pedigrees. And it took me a long time to realize how wrong that is, because poetry is the language of the heart. No matter how wise or foolish, how educated or self-taught, each and every one of us has a beating heart. We experience the world and we try to make sense of it. We try to find the ways we connect in and don't in all the swirling obfuscations around us. A lot of us try to stay in our heads most of the time while doing this work. We try to stay safe. After all, we have much more control over our heads than we do over our hearts or our emotions. They can have a little bit of a life of their own if we don't hold on to them tightly, it feels like sometimes. I remember talking with my dad one time, and he was a very smart guy, well-read, always thinking about how he could make the world a better place. And I brought him this poem that I thought was amazing, and I wanted to share it with him. And he read it, and he looked really uncomfortable. And then he said, "I've never gotten poetry." And I was shocked. I said, I knew that in school I just liked those really long epic poems that went on and on and on. I mean, but somebody liked them a long time ago. But I also found that poems opened myself up to parts of that I didn't even know were there. Looking back, I realized that my dad had a big wall built around his heart. He was afraid that if he opened it just a little, he didn't know what was going to come out. So he made sure to look through everything through the lens of reason, through his intellectual appreciation of what it meant to be a father to children. Because, he was one of those dads that when I called home, I'd talk to my mom for an hour, and she'd hand the phone to him, and he'd go, "How are you? What's the weather there? Okay, here's your mother." She was in charge of the emotional life of our family. The world is made up of all kinds, that's for sure, all kinds of people, all kinds of ways of being in relationship. And some of us feel a little bit more fluent in the language of joy and sorrow and love and loss and all those other pesky emotional feelings. And some of us see the world through analytical lenses and feel comfortable keeping emotions a little bit at arm's length. But this is me. This is my job as your minister. And sometimes my job is to invite you beyond your comfort zone, to invite you into a place that maybe you don't like to go to all the time. That's why you all have a prompt, hopefully, that you got as you came in the door. Because I've been writing poetry for real, maybe since about the year 2000, 2001. At that point, I was in a deeply unhappy marriage and had no outlet for taking care of the pain that I was experiencing or figuring out how to get through it. And I can still remember the first real poem I wrote as an adult. I felt like a poser, like I was doing something I had no right to do, but I also couldn't help myself. So I'm going to share that very first poem with you. It was called Evening Storm. Thick as salt water, heavy and warm, the hum of the fan barely lifting a breeze. All night's creatures raise their ruckus, calling for the cooling rain, anticipating the jagged flash and the rumbling fury that will come tonight. To slake the dusty earth, to wash, refresh, renew, to awake from sluggishness, offer joy drops, smooth the wilt from our souls, and we will wake replenished. I still want to edit it just a little bit more. Certainly not poet laureate material, but it gave voice to something very real within me, and I can still remember what it felt like in my room that night when I wrote it. Since then, I have notebooks filled of scribbled poetry from here and there in my life, because writing poetry has helped me stay sane. It's helped me clarify things. It helped me to claim my own voice and my ability to be in the world. The year I decided to go to seminary, I wrote a poem called This Year because it jumped me as I was driving down the road and I had to stop at a stoplight and write it down. This is the year I redeem my life. I look up and blow kisses to the four winds. An expectant smile curls my lips. Surging power roars into my chest, pulsing to each fingertip. With rich delight, I assert, I am. And this year, I believe it. That was from 2003. I was just beginning to open wider to the connection to the world, to the idea that I could have agency, that I could take charge over what was going to happen in my life. Having just gotten out of that marriage that I entered into as a 20-year-old, This was a mind-blowing concept. Not surprisingly, once I got to seminary, to learn that new life, my poetry life slacked off considerably. I was too busy living to sit around writing poems. My primary interaction with the world is not as a poet, but at the places when I'm sad and I'm alone and I don't know how it just kind of leaks out. Through it all, though, poetry has helped me to grow and helped me to figure out who I am in this world, because it was the poetry of David Whyte that gave me the language I needed to process some other very dark times. A friend had given me a stack of CDs that were mostly dance music, and I was driving around in my car and just popping them in, just to hear what they were, and most of them I wasn't real impressed with. And here was a CD full of poetry of David Whyte. I think I went back to that CD probably 8-10 times over the decade after that, and every time I'd put it in, I would drive around crying. And every time I would hear it another time, it would have another layer. And this time, this poem was the one that spoke the most to me. The third poem down was the one that just broke me open. I think that's the most powerful relationship I've ever had with poetry. Just listening to him speak his poems and crying, sobbing. But that's the power of verse. Words leave space so that we can hear whatever we need to hear, whatever's being said. That poem might say something very specifically in that moment for that person, but when I heard it, I heard what my soul needed to hear. Whyte writes that the poet lives and writes at the frontier between deep internal experience and the revelations of the outer world. There's no going back from this frontier once it's been reached. Suddenly a new territory is visible, and what has been said cannot be unsaid. This is both the power and the terror of poetry. Good verse can evoke our inner lives and can open up things which we may have blocked for a very particular reason. But once the moment passes, once those emotions have been released, we can open up and see the world in a whole new way. He has a poem called The Well of Grief, and he writes, "Those who will not slip beneath the still surface on the well of grief, turning down through its black water to the place we cannot breathe, will never know the source from which we drink, the secret water, cold and clear, nor find in the darkness glimmering the small round coins thrown by those who wished for something else." There is life down there in the bottom of the well. There are impulses of joy which may have been covered up for years. There's discovery and delight. There are things which have been unaccepted in previous times of our life which are suddenly released and allowed to be free. This medium can get around our carefully constructed guardrails. It can slip between the words that we've used to protect ourselves and open spaces of genuine, life-giving emotion. Different styles are going to work for all of us. Some may thrill to the cadence of a sonnet. Others may appreciate an epic poem. Sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. Many appreciate the Zen quality of a haiku. The beauty of it is that we can each find our own way. Poetry doesn't have to have rules except that it opens our hearts. I think that's what Parker Palmer meant when speaking in the incantations of Mary Oliver. Her words helped me step full-bodied into the day in whatever light I possess to do, whatever I can do to illuminate the darkness. Sometimes it's hard to remember the sun is even there to shine, but words written in verse can open up the sky and let it pour through. They can mine strength and courage and wisdom that we've buried. I truly believe that each and every one of us is a poet. Sometimes we express ourselves in art. Sometimes we express ourselves in baking. Sometimes we express ourselves in many other ways. But whatever way that we express ourselves, we are breaking through those walls that we built up and allowing something real to pour through. My task for you this morning is to unleash your inner poet. Fill a blank page, find a scrap of paper, find an old notebook in your house gathering dust, grab a pen, and see what comes out. If you need a prompt, I've given you some, and there's websites that give you 101 prompts. I put some more on the table out in Atherton Hall, too. Here are just a couple. Untouchable. Write about something that will always be out of reach. Or Grandma's Kitchen. Focus on a single memory or describe what you might imagine a typical grandma's kitchen to look like. It might be yours. Or Taste the Rainbow. What does your favorite color taste like? You don't have to be directive either. You can still simply start with I am and see what comes out. I have a poem that my daughter wrote when she was in high school that began, I am a daydreaming girl. It was so beautiful. And you're really lucky because you get to, in this church, you could attend the haiku group and join in a bunch of amazing people who are already writing poetry all the time. White says, poetry is a break for freedom. In a sense, all poems are good, because all poems are an emblem of courage and the attempt to say something unsayable. Only a few are able to speak with something universal yet personal and distinct at the same time. But it doesn't matter. We don't have to be those few. We can just be who we are and connect with what we need to find. Find the poets that speak to you. I've recently been sharing Andrea Gibson, who has broken my heart wide open recently. I'm sure you'll hear her more in the time to come. And we also laugh that Mary Oliver is the official poet laureate of all Unitarian Universalists, even though she was never a Unitarian. Because there's something about her nature poetry that can even open up our highly intellectual folks. She wrote, every morning I walk around this pond thinking if the doors of my heart ever close, I am as good as dead. Poetry is a gift to and from the human heart, to be read, written, shared, and savored. But for today, just remember, each and every one of us has all of that wisdom and truth and insight inside ourselves. Pick up a pen and see where it might take you. Amen, and blessed be.
please join me in saying our closing words together? They'll be on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Now, if you would please rise in spirit or body and sing our closing hymn, Be Thou My Vision.
Seated. Thanks. So just a quick reminder. Thank you so much for the beautiful music. That was lovely, guys. Thank you. And a reminder that if anyone wanted to join the new you to become a Unitarian and join the church, we're going to be in room 6 at the end of the hall. So you're welcome to join us there. Our closing words are from Sean Parker Dennison. At this moment of ending, may there be a good word, a blessing, to help us remember what we have so often forgotten. May the message we need be gently spoken and held in the spaces of ourselves, the fibers that hold all we need to maintain our gentleness, our courage, and our hope. At this moment of ending, may the goodness we wish for ourselves and each other, this community, this ecosystem, this planet, Stardust galaxy, become such a part of us that we cannot tell where the blessing ends and where we begin. And may the 4th be with you.